Recently, IPOs have been kind of a hot topic again. For seems like a few years there, IPOs weren't being issued that much. Initial public offerings where a company typically goes from being a private company to a publicly listed exchange that investors can easily invest in. But here recently, with a lot of the tech and the AI and a lot of these different sectors really booming, IPOs are becoming a lot more talked about. And I wanted to just address a couple of quick things about IPOs. They're not for the faint of heart. A lot of times they can go either direction after they go live as far as prices go. Sometimes they can go down in price after the IPO has been issued. And I think a lot of times investors have the idea if they could just get in on that hot IPO, it's going to take off because they think of the few companies that they could have invested in if they just bought the IPO. It's equally important to remember that it doesn't always, in fact, most of the times, it doesn't go that way. And I did a quick Google search and I pulled up some companies that probably anybody from my generation or younger would recognize. And in fact, a lot of these IPOs or new companies went bankrupt during my tenure as a financial advisor. You probably heard of Sears. It was an IPO at one time. Enron was an IPO at one time. Nikola, 23andMe, WeWork, JCPenney, Pets.com, WorldCom, Blockbuster, Radio Shack, Lehman Brothers, Bed Bath & Beyond, just to mention a few. So every one of those were very popular, hot at the time IPOs. So I just think it's really important to remember, if you're a conservative, moderate investor, those probably aren't for you. Those don't fit your profile. The other thing to consider, the way that an IPO works is basically a lead manager, a big brokerage firm, and then a whole slew or a whole list of co-managers, probably a dozen sometimes, will all be involved in issuing that new stock through that IPO. And if it's popular at all, that IPO, it's going to be oversubscribed immediately. And the chances of a normal retail investor of even getting in on that is very, very slim. Usually the big, huge institutional investors, the big money is going to come in and buy all that up before you and I ever get a chance, even if we even have access to it. You're always free to buy it on the open market the day after, months after, years after it's issued. But the access to it can be very, very limited, if not impossible, on an initial public offering.